flurry of show cause notices that are being issued. So the topic that we have is on handling show cause notices under GST. To speak on this, we have a distinguished speaker all the way from Chennai, CA N.K. Bharat Kumar. I request CA Pani to escort our guest onto the dais and welcome him with a floral bouquet.
CA N.K. Bharat Kumar is a chartered accountant, ISA holder, is an expert handling various IDT matters over the years. He has held various positions, including co-opted member of Indirect Tax Committee of SIRC of ICI, member of Indirect Tax Study Group formed under ICI between 2016 and 17.
A hearty welcome, sir. He's also a faculty at various fora and has authored and co-authored and contributed to many books and articles on GST, including a handbook on show cause notice, approach and reply under GST. If I could request CA Bharat Kumar to kindly take over, sir.
Pranams to my parents and teachers, with their blessings I am here. Respected Chairman of Bangalore. Recent amendments in GST. I thought let it be a non-technical session. Show cause notice as such, the provisions of section 73, 74, 76 would have been well deliberated and you would have heard multiple times. But since it is a practical oriented session, so I thought let me make it as a practical session itself. So it is a practical oriented session. I thought it will be boring very much if I completely take on the practical side. So I've included a little bit of technical slides just for a brush up. I have also requested the branch to share this PPT, which you can append along with the material which is given in this conference book. We'll go into the session right away now, handling SCNs under GST. We often hear the words notice, show cause notice interchangeably from various persons, including our clients. What is notice? What is a show cause notice? When it can be treated as a notice, when it can be treated as a show cause notice. You would have seen notices coming from the GST department on saying that you have not filed your returns, we are going to cancel your registrations. This is a notice. You also may get a document saying that why we should not collect taxes from you, why we should not collect interest from you, and why we should not collect penalty from you. You are directed to show cause as to why these actions should not be taken. So notices are different, show cause notices are different. I have included little bit of notices also, little bit of show cause notices also, to give an understanding on various type of notices that we are going to see under GST, as well as the practical aspects of dealing the notices issued under 73, 74, etc. So SCN is a notice served on the taxpayer asking him to show cause as to why a particular action should not be taken. That is called as a show cause notice. The action can be cancellation of a registration, demand of tax, denial of a compounding option, and various other actions that can be initiated by the department. It is a law, it is established principles that only a show cause notice must be issued if at all the department contemplates for any action which is prejudicial to the assessee. Without issuance of a show cause notice, no demands can be enforced. However, department has been thinking on a separate lines, and they are finding ways to counter this particular aspect and try to recover the amount from the assessees. You would have seen section 7512 read with section 79, where it is mentioned, notwithstanding anything contained in 73 and 74. It starts with non-obstante clause. So it says, notwithstanding anything contained in 73 and 74, wherever there is a self-assessed tax under section 39, or any interest which is payable for the taxes that are unpaid, the same can be recovered without issuance of a show cause notice by virtue of section 79. Friends, when GST was introduced from 1717, the government had contemplated GSTR 1, GSTR 2, and GSTR 3. GSTR 1 was under section 37, GSTR 2 was under 38, and GSTR 3 was under 39. 2 and 3 have never seen the day's light. 3B got introduced under section 39. Now, the provisions which are drafted earlier was mentioning section 39 that self-assessed tax when it is unpaid, it can be recovered by way of section 79. Now, when you file your 3B, you cannot file your 3B unless you make the payment of taxes. So there is no question of self-assessed tax remaining unpaid under section 39. 7512 was failing at that point in time. I'm sure many of you would have got notices, like your clients would have got notices for, not notice actually, it is a intimation that your bank accounts are getting freezed. Last to last budget, maybe 2 years before, when the announcement was done that 41,000 crore of interest was pending to be collected, all the department machinery got into one single mode. Use section 7512 read with 79, immediately issue a letter to the assessee in the morning that you are liable to pay this much interest. By evening, the assessee gets a call from the banker saying that you have got a attachment notice for this much amount. Luckily, LC Infra Projects, the same Karnataka High Court from here, was first to deliver judgment saying that wherever you want to recover any amount from the assessee, it has to be preceded by the show cause notice. And the recovery which was done earlier, the 41,000 crore, was amounting to interest. Whereas 7512 was reading that self-assessed tax and the related interest, the court noted that this amount of interest has been calculated by the department and not by the assessee. So it cannot be treated as a self-assessed tax. You cannot enforce to attach the bank account. So this action taken by you is invalid. You have to issue a show cause notice if you have to collect this interest. Later on, this judgment was followed by many other high courts and the assessee were at relief. And department also stopped issuing notices on that angle. Come 2021 finance bill. As you are aware that section 39, you cannot file a return with self-assessed tax pending. Because when you are filing 3B, even if your self-assessed tax is 10 lakhs, if you are declaring 1 lakh, you will be able to file that return only when your 1 lakh is paid. So they understood that there is an issue in this particular section. They introduced an explanation stating that self-assessed tax will mean and include the self-assessed tax declared in the return as per section 37, which means they are connecting now to GSTR 1. So any return that is GSTR 1, wherever you have filed with your assessed tax and wherever the GSTR 3B is not filed, that means a straight recovery action can be taken under section 79 without issuance of any show cause notice. So it is an exception what department is having to issue a demand notice or a recovery notice without proceeding to issue a show cause notice. In fact, these provisions were introduced of late at the fag end in the service tax regime, but not implemented much. But now we can see going forward that department is going to use this provision to recover the amounts as soon as possible. So SEN under section 73, 74 will be issued only if it is not a self-assessed tax. If it is self-assessed tax declared and you have not paid, definitely directly they are going to recover. There is no question of issuing notice from the department. And still, this provision also will get challenged in the courts of law, where it is obstructing the right of the SSC to present his views, to present his case. Directly, recovery option should not be approached by the department. This point of view will be definitely litigated. Going forward, we will see certain notices issued under the GST registration. First is GST REG 03. What is this notice? So during your registration application or an amendment that is being done, a notice in form REG 03 will be issued seeking clarification or the documents in order to complete the registration and sanction, for which there can be multiple reasons. One, the document cannot be uploaded due to paucity of space. It would not have been uploaded. There can be multiple documents which the space was not sufficient. Only minimum documents could be uploaded. So when such notices come, it is our duty to respond to the notice by attaching the necessary documents or giving the necessary clarifications to enable the officer to sanction the registration. The time period within which it has to be responded is 7 days from the date of receiving the notice. If this notice is not responded, it may be liable for rejection. The application of amendment or the new registration may be liable for rejection, and REG 05 may be intimated to the SSC electronically about this rejection. Moving forward, Form GST REG 17. This notice is sent by a GST officer who has a valid reason to believe that the GST registration of a taxpayer should be cancelled on various reasons. Main reason will be that he has not filed his return for a continuous tax period of 6 months in the case of a regular taxpayer. On the case of a quarterly filer, for the 3 tax consecutive periods, he would not have filed, or they have got information that he has taken ineligible input tax credits and he has not paid the tax. He has paid the taxes, but not in complete aspects. But that is, the turnover declared in the GST return is high and GSTR3 is less. Various reasons can be there, but GST REG 17 can be issued. Before such cancellation, a notice will be issued as per Rule 22(1) saying that why this registration should not be cancelled. Most probably, as of now, we have received notices only regarding cancellation of registration due to non-filing of returns. How do we handle this particular notice? The assessee would not have filed the returns for the longer period. So we have to make him understand these provisions. What will happen if this registration is getting cancelled? What will happen if he's going for a new number? So based on the pros and cons, he need to understand, file the returns if he wants to continue with the number. Even otherwise also, in order to have a complete closure for the particular notice, he has to file all the returns and get a closure letter from the department if he wishes to go for a new number. If he wishes to continue with the same number, he needs to comply with filing of all the returns along with interest, submit the details with the officers, and if the period is available, he can apply for revocation. Otherwise, he has to approach the Commissioner of Appeals with the order and get an order to order from the Commissioner of Appeals that the registration shall be restored, and only then the registration can be restored. If this notice is not complied with, then definitely REG 19 will be issued for intimating that the registration is being cancelled. Once this registration is cancelled, the taxpayer will come to know that the registration is cancelled. Normally, the taxpayer will not be aware. He will say that, sir, I have not checked the email. I have not got any intimation. The time period would have lapsed, and then he would have come to us saying that, sir, registration is cancelled. Now, what is the next course of action? He has to file an application in REG 21 saying that, please restore my registration, kindly revoke the cancellation that you have done. For which also, again, department has a show cause notice in REG 23 saying that why I should not consider your application of revocation. If the reasons are satisfactory, he may go ahead. If the reasons are not satisfactory, he will give a rejection order as usual. And this last in registration is REG 27, which was earlier used, now maybe not particularly relevant, but it was for moving of the provisional registration number into regular numbers. Wherever the people were not moving, this REG 26 was issued stating that this provisional number will get cancelled. Moving on to certain notices under GST returns. We saw what are the type of notices under registrations. Now under returns, there are few notices which are going to see. CMP 05, composition 05. questioning the eligibility to be a composition dealer. Show cause notice in CMP 05 is issued for this purpose. Maybe you would have crossed the turnover or you would have violated any conditions within the knowledge of the department. And when it comes, the CMP 05 is being issued, questioning why this option should be denied, why you should be made as a regular taxpayer. The reasons from the SSC side are valid. The same should be presented within the permissible time of 15 days. And if the officer is convinced, he will drop the notice. And if he's not convinced, he's going to cancel this option, for which again we need to go on appeal or convert himself into a regular taxpayer. GSTR 3A. This notice is now available on all the taxpayers who are all defaulters in their respective emails. The intimation which comes from the GST department saying that the alert will come before the due date, you will get an alert. Only 2 days to go. Please file your returns if you have not filed. Please ignore if you have already filed. Now, after this due date, they will send that you have not filed your returns. Please file immediately. This is GSTR 3A. Wherever the returns are not filed, this is where a default notice will be sent automatically from the department side. Within 15 days time, if the returns are filed, then it is possible that a particular notice is being withdrawn or it is closed. But if the returns are not getting filed, the department is going to get a time of 5 years from the due date of filing of annual return for that particular period to pass an order. I'll repeat, the department is going to get 5 years from the due date of filing of annual return for that financial year to pass an order under this particular GSTR 3A's notice. So, department, we cannot go and approach the department saying that you have not issued a notice to us. GSTR 3A in itself is a notice. So, wherever non-filers are there, whoever have not filed the returns, even after this intimation in GSTR 3A, they have already received the show cause notices. How to handle this? They have to go and file the returns with appropriate interest. And if it is not done, then they have let open the space for the department to come forward and issue an order till the time what I was mentioning here. So we need to be careful on whether the SSC is going to comply. We need to alert the SSC that you are going to get an order any point in time, because the timeline is very, very huge. Few notices under GST assessments. ASMT 02. This particular notice is being issued whenever you are opting for provisional assessment. I'm sure in my limited experience, I have not seen provisional assessments being conducted or being applied except 1% or 2% in the erstwhile central excise or service tax regime. Because more than the advantages, the disadvantages are more. The one example will be like if you are not able to derive the value or the rate of tax at which you are liable to pay, you go for provisional assessment. The provisional assessment officer will decide a value and he will give, or he will decide the rate and he will give. If he's deciding the higher rate, you pay at 28%, one, you may be incompetitive in the market. Say if we're deciding at 12 and the final assessment comes saying that you are liable to pay at 18, the 6% may not be his margin also, but he has to shell out. Because he would have been collecting only 12 based on the instructions of the officer that he is liable to charge and pay only 12%. On the other hand, there is also mentioned that wherever this excess amount paid, it can be claimed back as a refund along with interest at 6%. My humble submission or question here is, when I have collected at 18% and I have paid to the department, how I am going to get 6% if at all the final assessment rate is finalized at 12%? Am I going to get that 6% along with interest? Will it not be amounting to unjust enrichment? So in my humble opinion, this refund will not be permissible in the case of provisional assessment. Further, whatever differential taxes that is being paid, the 6%, that has to be paid with interest. Definitely, I'm not sure whether the business is going to sustain this much heavy cost. So provisional assessment as such may not be opted by many of the SSCs. Still, for the academic purposes, we'll get to know what are the notices that are being issued. Now, ASMT 01 will be the application that you are filing, opting for the provisional assessment, where the department officer will seek further information from you on the various aspects on and the reasons on why you are going to opt for the provisional assessment. What is the goods? What is the rate at which you are deciding? Are there any competitors? What is known international market? What are the components of the product? Like various questions will be asked in ASMT 02. You need to reply with complete information in ASMT 03, based on which they will proceed to issue your assessment order permission. And they have a huge time again. Once you apply, they get time of 90 days within which they have to respond. And if your reply is not complied, it will be like you have not made your application at all. ASMT 06, again with reference to the provisional assessment. Once the provisional assessment order is given that you are permitted to pay your tax under provisional assessment, ASMT 06 will be issued for finalizing. For finalizing the rates, the department will be working on as if a professional is working, getting the complete information again, and then they will pass an order. So for which ASMT 06 is being used, and within 15 days of the notice, or you can seek an extension also if required, you need to submit the information, after which ASMT 07 will be passed, intimating you what should be the value or what should be the rate at which you have to collect or pay the taxes. ASMT 10, a very famous notice. I'm sure many of your clients would have got this. If you refer section 61, it says the officer, the proper officer, will scrutinize the return and related particulars furnished by the registered person. I'll repeat, the proper officer shall verify the return and the related particulars furnished by the registered person. Now, how do I interpret here? I, as a registered person, I have filed my GSTR 3B, I have filed my GSTR 1. I am not filing any other return. But if you see ASMT 10 that is being issued from the department, you will find that there is a comparison of the input tax credit that I have claimed in GSTR 3B with GSTR 2A. There will be a comparison of the liability that I have declared in GSTR 3B or GSTR 1 along with GSTR 7, the TDS deduction that has been made by my customers. Without application of mind, since it is all system driven, they just compare the values of that particular month, which is available in GSTR 7, what I have declared here, automatically the notices are generated and they are being sent. There is no artificial intelligence for them, unfortunately, to see what would have happened earlier. If I have raised my invoice in February month, I am liable to pay my taxes in March and I would have paid it. The person who is going to make the payment, say he is making payment in the next year, June, he will deduct TDS at that point in time. And the TDS entry I will claim in the month of June, but that entry will not be there. So there will be a notice ASMT 10 stating that GSTR 7 is having this entry, you have not filed in your returns. All this aside, the arguments presented by the assessee are, section 61 says it should be the return and the related particulars furnished by the assessee. If you are comparing the returns furnished by me with GSTR 7 or GSTR 2B, which is not filed by me, how it is valid, how it can be covered under section 61? For which department's angle reply is, we have mentioned in the provision that the return and related particulars furnished by the registered person. Have we mentioned that it is same registered person? It is not same registered person. Every return is being furnished by the registered person only. So we will compare any registered person and we will give you. That is the department side's response. But if you wish to register your objection, please do it at the initial level itself. If you refer section 160, there is a particular mention. If there is any default, if there is any mistake, if there is any notice being issued without any jurisdiction or without any reference to the proper provisions, without any validity, and if the assessee has responded, to the notice, you cannot go back and claim that the notice was not served properly, the notice is not issued in line of section 61. All these reasons will not be held as a valid reasons because you have responded to the notice. So whenever you are responding to the notice, if you wish to register your objections, please register at the initial reply itself. You can mention that subject to validity of this notice issued under section 61, we feel that the notice should be made out of the return and related particulars furnished by the registered person. Since it is being compared with the documents that are not filed by us, we feel that section 61 will not be applicable in this case. And hence, we feel that this notice is being treated, should be treated as void in law. Subject to the validity of the notice, we submit our reply, so that you register your objection at the initial level itself. Not particularly with respect to this ASMT 10 notice, but wherever you are responding, if you feel that the notice is issued by improper officer, not under the jurisdiction, please register your objection in the initial reply itself. If you are not registering, you have lost the opportunity to make this point at the higher level. So once the ASMT 10 is given, you are getting two options. One, you respond in ASMT 11, or you don't respond, or you don't rectify your mistake. If you have responded, you will get ASMT 12. I'm mentioning you will get ASMT 12, but I'm not mentioning the date. Because all the cases so far, whatever has happened, only ASMT 11 has been filed, and there is no ASMT 12 from the department side. So we have also approached to issue ASMT 12, but they have told you, please wait, we'll have to issue. We'll have to see the mechanism, how it is getting issued. On the other hand, if there is no response, or if you have admitted to the mistake that has been pointed out, but you have not rectified, then the officers have various options to move forward. They can refer it for inspection, search, seizure, or they can directly issue a notice under 73 or 74. ASMT 14. This is a notice for unregistered persons under section 63. The unregistered persons will include persons who are not taking registration but have crossed the turnover limits, or persons for whom the registration has been cancelled and they have been continuing to do the business. Or in those cases, ASMT 14 will be issued. The reply has to be given in written form, and an appearance is mandated, because in the notice itself they will mention, ASMT 14 itself they will mention that you are directed to appear on so and so date and meet the concerned officer. Within 15 days time, if required, you can apply for extension by giving a letter. ASMT 15, an assessment order will be passed if there is no response, or the response is there but the taxes are not paid. ASMT 15 will be passed. It is an order. ASMT 15, it is an order. And once an order is passed, 3 months they will wait. After 3 months, they can initiate the recovery proceedings. Notices by revisional authority. What is this revisional authority? If you read section 108 and the related rules, it is so confusing. The rules, these provisions are so clumsy. It requires regular reading, at least 5 to 10 times you read, and then you understand that the department has found a proper place and they have fixed themselves in such a situation that wherever errors are there, they can rectify that. Wherever errors are there, they can rectify this. It is not for the taxpayers, it is for the department. Whenever there is an order being passed, if there is any point which has not been considered, even if it was not available at the time of adjudication, even if it is not available at the time of adjudication, and if it was made available later on, and if it is brought to the notice of the revision authority, he can take up the order for the purpose of revision, and he can pass an order based on the newly received facts. Even if the order has been appealed against, still the revision authority can take up the matter for the items not covered in the appeal. So the department has created a cushion zone, section 108. So wherever there is missing out, wherever there are errors, that can be taken up by section 108 and they can rectify. Before such rectification, as a requirement under the law, they will give a notice in RVN 01, for which the assessee is required to approach the revision authority, give his submissions and responses. If it is found to be valid, the revision authority will drop the notice. If it is not, then an order will be issued in ADT 04, which will be again appealable to SISTAT. Notices under GST refunds. These are all very famous and normally regularly seen by many of us. So a show cause notice will be issued why the refund should not be rejected. Many times it may so happen that since it is a condition that within 15 days they have to pass the 90% refund, 90% refund will be passed, and later on they will be issuing a show cause notice stating that you return this 90% along with the interest and say why we should not reject this refund. So various reasons are there why this refund should be granted, and various reasons can be there from the department on their how they have interpreted the provisions to claim that why this refund should not be rejected. Most of the cases, there will be ad hoc rejection. They will not mention any reason in the order itself. And many a times, all eligible credits will be regarded as ineligible just because the nomenclature is changed. So all these reasons should be taken up properly, should be analyzed, and should be responded in a proper manner so that the balance refund is also received and the demand against the 90% refund given is also dropped. Notices by anti-profiteering authority. This may not be much relevant, but still for academic purposes, we'll see. Wherever they are getting an information that the particular company has not passed on the credit, even the time limit for their function has been extended. So wherever there is a information with them that they are not, the companies are not passing on the credit, they have taken an undue advantage. All the particular associates will be put to notice to provide all the information. You need to cooperate with the authorities by giving the respective data. And if it is convinced that yes, there is no undue enrichment, there is no requirement of any passing on, they will be dropping. If it is found that you are liable to pay, please pay it with interest, and they may also impose penalty. Coming to notices under demand and recovery provisions, the most likely litigated or the most likely way of what I can say is professional work which is going to come our way. If you refer Rule 142, it is mentioned that the proper officer, along with the show cause notice, shall issue Form DRC 01 or this DRC 02 electronically on the GST portal. Along with the show cause notice, shall issue a summary of the demand in DRC 01 or DRC 02 on the portal. How do we interpret that? It is not necessary for the department that they have to issue a show cause notice online. What they are mentioning is the summary of the demand, DRC 01 in the case of show cause notice, DRC 02 in the case of statement of demand will be issued electronically. So there is no requirement as such that they will be issuing a show cause notice online. If they are uploading the summary of the demand, it will be treated as a valid service of notice. If the demands are getting accepted, you need to pay with DRC 03 along with interest, and wherever penalties are imposed, if you wish to contest, you can contest. Otherwise, if you are required to pay, before issuance of the notice, if you had to pay, it would have been lesser. After issuance of the notice, it becomes more. DRC 13, notice of recovery of outstanding tax from a third person. Many of our clients would have received a notice from the department saying that you have transacted with Mr. XYZ. He is a defaulter. He has not paid this much tax to the department. We are of the information that this person, you are due to this person so much amount. You are hereby directed to remit this entire amount into GST department. How do we respond to this notice? If the amount is really due, please check the accounts. Please confirm that this notice is genuine with the DIN number. Inform the client to whom you are due that you have received this notice. You are going to pay to the department. Prepare a check and pay it off. There can be a situation where you have put a check yesterday. Today you are receiving the notice. The check is put for clearing today and it got cleared. Now, as on date of the receipt of notice, the books will show that you have not honored the department's commitment. How do you prove? Here is where the associates should be educated that please issue a payment voucher whenever you are making a payment. Had they followed this payment voucher, the payment voucher would have been prepared for the previous day. It would have got an acknowledgement saying that the check was prepared and presented already. The notice was received today and the check was presented in the bank in the simultaneous same time. Hence, there is no due from the assessee side. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for the person to prove that there are no dues to the said person. DRC 16, a notice for attachment and sale of immovable or movable property, goods or shares under section 79. Any taxpayer receiving this notice, it's all at the fag end of all the proceedings. Once this section 79 is invoked, you are at the end of the proceeding stage. and once these recovery notices are being issued, you are not supposed to act against that particular notice. You are not supposed to dispose of the assets. You are not supposed to change the name transfer to some other person. These things will not be accepted by the department. Now moving on to the step-by-step approach on how to handle show cause notices under GST. Before which, a small brush up on the notices that are issued under section 73 and 74. Wherever this fraud, willful misstatement and suppression are not involved. We'll take this first category. Wherever this fraud, willful misstatement and suppression is not involved, then notice will be issued by the department under section 73. What is the time limit within which they have to issue the notice? That is provided in section 73.2, read with 73.10. It says, the order must be passed under section 73.10 within the end of 3 years from the due date of filing of annual return. For example, 7th February 2020 is the due date of 1718. So the order must be passed on or before 6th February 2023. So if an order has to be passed on or before 6th February 23, a notice must be issued at least 3 months before that. This is with respect to section 73. During invocation of section 73, there can be a situation that the officer may be in the way of proposing a notice to be issued under 73. That means an audit may be happening, an inquiry or investigation may be going on. The liability may be crystallized by the officers. If the assessee is willing, if the assessee is agreeing to the liability, if he is saying that under section 73, if you are paying this amount before issuance of the notice, there will be no penalty. And if the assessee pays, definitely he can come out without payment of any penalty. But conditions apply. This no penalty clause will be applicable only when the amount that is paid is not a self-assessed tax. Only when the amount is not a self-assessed tax, you can claim this benefit of zero penalty. As far as zero penalty is concerned, they are giving another opportunity. Once a notice is issued, within 30 days of the notice, if you are paying, again zero penalty, with the same condition that it should not be a self-assessed tax. If it is not a self-assessed tax, you have missed both your opportunities. You are paying the taxes after passing of the order. Mandatorily, you are required to pay 10% penalty. That is the maximum penalty that can be made applicable under section 73. When you come to section 74, these three ingredients must be present. Fraud, willful misstatement, and suppression of facts should be present. Only then a notice can be issued under 74. And you are all very well aware that the department officers will always select section 74 for the purpose of issuance of the notice. So if you are paying before issuance of a show cause notice, here mandatory penalty is 15%. If you are paying within 30 days of the issuance of the show cause notice, then tax, interest plus 25% penalty has to be paid. And you are paying within 30 days of the communication of the order in original. That is the third chance. There you can pay the penalty of 50%. And beyond that, no further reduction is possible. You need to pay mandatorily 100%. This is how section 73 and 74 are structured. One more section based on which notice will be issued is under section 76. And that notice will be issued whenever the department is sure that you have collected an amount in the name of tax and you have not paid to the government. And there is no specific time limit for section 76. They can issue even after 10 years. Provided it is proved that you have collected a particular amount and you have not deposited to the government, they can come back anytime and issue section 76 notice. On the practical aspects, the first comes is date of receipt of the show cause notice. I'm sure you have all read section 169, which states about service of notice under certain circumstances, not all circumstances, certain circumstances. They are including the authorized representatives For example, if we have taken a power of attorney, we have represented the client, and during service of notice, if client is not to be traced, servicing of a notice to an authorized representative is also treated as a valid service of notice. If they are going to the office, if they are giving the notice to a regularly employed person for the business, I can even stretch my imagination to include a person who is my gatekeeper, who is on my rolls. I have not outsourced the security services, he is on my rolls. He is employed for my business. I can stretch even saying that if they are giving it to the security person, that is even treated as a valid service of notice. They have even included that they can come to the residence of the SSC, see who is any adult member available, hand over a notice copy to them. That is also treated as a valid service of notice. There is no hierarchy made available, but these are all things which are there in section 169. They can send an email, they can send a speed post, they can deliver it by hand. And when they are sending with speed post, there is a provision which they are taking shelter of, saying that it is deemed that the assessee would have received the particular order or the notice or the summon, whatever be the document being sent, within the particular days in which it has to reach. For example, a notice is being sent, and in regular time, within 2 days, the assessee has to receive. According to department, it is deemed that he has received, unless the contrary is proved. Now, how the assessee will be able to prove the contrary? Without having the tracking number, without having the notice details, how will he be able to prove? He has to again go to the department, get the tracking number, find out whether it has been delivered, to whom it has been delivered. All these problems are there. In general, the notice will be received by way of an email, by way of the hosting on the GST portal, or by way of a physical copy. These three modes are available for the department in general, where they will be issuing the notices. You may find our regular clients calling and saying, sir, some notice has come from department, or some letter has come from department. We say, okay, you send it in WhatsApp, you send it in email, I'll check. We may be on travel, we may be in some function, some messages would have come, you would have checked the notice, okay, we'll respond. After which, WhatsApp, what is happening now? Huge messages flow will happen, and in that flow, we'll definitely miss that notice that has received. I urge all of you to request your clients to send a formal email of the copy of the notice. Do not entertain clients sending on the WhatsApp. Once a mail is received, at least you can flag it and keep that this work is pending, this has to be seen. Date of receipt of notice is very, very, very important. As we have seen in the previous slides, the critical dates, within 30 days of the issuance of the notice, within 30 days of the issuance of the order, if you are able to make the payment, you are able to get the benefit of the penalties. Now, how will you track unless you don't have the date of receipt? So this date of receipt is very, very important activity which you have to record. If there is an email received from the assessee, it can be tracked that, okay, the department has sent an email on so-and-so date. Please take a printout of that and keep it in your file. It is a proof that, yes, the mail has come on so-and-so date from the department. If it has come through postal cover, please inform your client to preserve the postal cover. Give the order copy to your office along with the copy of the postal cover. Because that is the proof to establish that I have received on so-and-so date. With which we can calculate within 30 days. If the case is a gone case, okay, there is no possibility of any arguments being presented. It has to be closed by amount being paid as demanded. Then there is no other way than to pay the amount within the limited time available, so that at least penalties can be saved. So please preserve the date of receipt. One, take a printout of the email copy where department mail ID is there, addressed to the SSC. Second, take the photocopy of the postal cover. Please guide the SSC to take. Do not entertain the notices on the WhatsApp. Once you have received the information, notice, hard copy, soft copy, whatever it is, what's next? Refer to the jurisdiction and the time limit within which you have to respond to the particular notice. Identify what is the jurisdiction of the SSC, whether the proper officer has issued the notice, or any other officer has issued who does not have jurisdiction. If it does not have, please make a note that you respond accordingly in the show cause notice reply. 73 or 74, as such, in my limited knowledge, does not contain or does not mandate that a notice reply must be presented within particular days. But if you see, all the notices will contain that you are hereby directed to respond within 15 days of the time. Otherwise, this case will be decided on the ex parte basis. So either they give 15 days time or 30 days time. Maximum is 30 days, not more than that. So if you are able to respond within the time limit given, well and good. If you are not able to respond, please go and file an extension letter at least 4 to 5 days before the due date. At least 4 to 5 days before the due date. So that the officer is aware that yes, it is being represented by some person. So let us wait for the reply to be received. They should not hurry up and pass an ex parte order because of the huge pressure that is being put on from the Delhi. Now you may be experiencing. We are in December, you see Jan, Feb and March, how the pressure is being put on from the Delhi on the department officers to collect the revenue. The hearing intimation, say for example, they have given on 2nd December, we file an adjournment for 15 days, they give the next hearing on 6th December. If we file an adjournment again, say, sir, we are requested for 15 days, you have given only 4 days. No, we are under pressure, we have to complete these cases. Now, how do the assessee take the details and respond? Sometimes the assessee would not have received the notice. The hearing letter would have been received by an email. And we go and say that, sir, assessee has not received the notice, please give a copy. You take a copy. At least from that day, you give 30 days. No, we'll give only 10 days time. Because of this huge pressure, adjudication may happen like anything. So if you are not responding by way of an extension letter, it may be presumed by the department that there is no response being received and it can go against the assessee. So please file an extension well in advance. Power of attorney and fixation of duties. Under GST law, there is no prescribed format of getting a power of attorney. As we are used to under income tax to get a power of attorney, similar format can be followed even for GST purposes, depending on what is accepted by the respective officers or the commissionerate. Pan India, different formats are being followed, different methods are being followed. Somewhere they accept the power of attorney or authorization letter issued on the letterhead of the client. Somewhere they demand that only it should be on the stamp paper, either of rupees 50 or 100. So depending on the acceptance from the department side, you decide what is required and get a power of attorney. When you get a power of attorney, fix a duty of the client and as well as what are your duties, please be clear with the client. Do not give false hopes. I have seen many CAs on the phone when they are discussing, they say that, okay, I'll handle this notice, you don't worry, I'll see what can be done. We'll ensure that we win the case. Please don't give false hopes. Adjudication, 99% you will not get the favorable orders. 99%. In my limited experience, I'm saying there can be the other percentages which are available here because most of the seniors are seated. In my limited experience, I'm saying 99% you will not get the favorable orders. There are clients who take it otherwise. They say that you told me that you are going to settle this case, you are going to clear this case, there will be no liability. Now see the department officer has imposed 100% penalty, you have not done your work properly. And they go to some advocate. Please do not give false hopes. Please fix the duty that it is the duty of the assessee that he will give complete records relating to the particular case without missing anything. As it been said from a long time, you have to tell truth to 3 people, doctors, advocates, CA, right? So the client has to tell the truth that all the transactions, whatever is relating to that has to be given. From your side, you commit that within the prescribed time, I will prepare my reply, I will represent for you before the authorities on payment of this particular fees, which has to be done. Do not wait at the end to collect the fees. Please fix the responsibility. At this point in time, you have to pay me this. At this point in time, you have to pay me this. I understand many of the mind voices saying that by telling in the mic, it is very, very easy, sir. Practically, it is very, very difficult. I understand that, sir. I understand. It is happening with everybody, but we need to build a practice. We need to have a system through which the assessee will be aware that yes, we are professionals and we mean what we do. They will go to a doctor after the checkup. They will ask voluntarily, sir, how much fees has to be paid? But when they come for consultancy, when they come for this work to be done, and once the order is coming, nobody is opening the mouth saying, sir, what is the amount to be fees, except barring few good clients who are there. So please ensure that you fix your responsibilities, duties, roles of the client as well as of your side. Once the agreement is freezed, that yes, you are going to respond for the assessee, you are going to represent, you have to start working on that particular file. Reading a show cause notice. How do you read a show cause notice? I'm sure seniors are there, very, very experienced. Please do not take it otherwise. I'm just sharing my limited knowledge. It can be supplemented definitely with the wisdom of all the seniors. Read every line by line in detail, as how we read our CA exam papers. The lengthier the paper, the more information is available. You need not work out the data as you have been taught earlier. Read the entire paper in detail, entire notice in detail. Cover all the aspects of the notice that are required for you to respond. Right from the GSTIN number, registered premises, what is mentioned in the notice, what is there in the GST registration, whether additional place is mentioned in the notice, whether it is there in the amendment, what is the tax period connected to this issue, what are the transactions that are captured in the particular notice, what are the details, sections which are invoked in the particular section, violations as has been alleged by the department in the notices, the manner in which the valuation has been arrived, what is the value of the particular product or service, even in the case of a valuation matter, the way in which the goods or services are classified. Of course, you would have had a good topic on classification yesterday. So in what manner the department has classified the goods or services of the SSC, the details of input tax credit that are being disallowed, why they have disallowed, what is the reason for the disallowance, are they saying it is an ineligible credit, are they saying it is a time barred credit, what is the reason for the disallowance, the rate of tax that has been considered for arriving the taxable value. The assessor would have treated this transaction as exempted category. Department would say, no, it is taxable at 18%. How? First, classification. Second, how the 18% rate is applicable or how it is exempted. So all these things from the show cause notice, you need to point out, you need to jot down for the purpose of discussion, not for immediately preparing a reply. Please jot down everything for your discussion purpose. You get a good grip of the subject. Next is discussion with the client. As normally said, a lot of things can happen over a cup of coffee. Please invite the client to your office. Or if you wish that the client is a very big person, he will not come, I have to go, please visit them. Whatever you have read in the show cause notice, whatever you have noted down, please discuss with the client and get his views. Have you done this particular transaction? The department is alleging these things. What is your point of view? Are you having records to prove that this is not a fake transaction? Are you having record to prove that this ITC is eligible ITC? Can you prove with evidences that all these transactions you have paid the taxes? Can you prove with e-waybill records that these transactions are genuine? Many discussions are required to be happen, because any information which we can get from the client is a bonus. It can so happen during the interaction that some new information we'll get which will be more useful for responding to a show cause notice. And it will also make aware the client that yes, we are working on the notice, we are extensively working on this particular notice and our efforts have also gone inside. Next comes drafting of a response. Drafting a reply of a show cause notice is definitely an art. As a qualified professional chartered accountant, I do not say that we are not capable at all. Definitely, we are all capable than any other person. The way in which we are taught during the articleship period, the way in which we are evaluated by way of the toughest exam in the world, definitely we are capable. It's just that you require little more exposure, little more grip on the knowledge, on the law, and a little bit of practice and regular reading of the provisions, updations, and the case laws. Once these are all falling in line, you are definitely eligible or able to draft a good response for any show cause notice. Bangalore is having huge giants in the indirect taxes. I remember my first presentation during 2007 when I was my first paper presentation in SICASA 2007 when I presented. Venkat Ramani sir from Bangalore was my chairperson. What I suggest or what I wish to tell is, maybe it may not be accepted by many, but this is my view. Kindly accept or do not accept. The seniors in the profession are always open to guide the youngsters. The youngsters who are into the new practice, I salute them that they have come to the practice. And one more salute to those proprietary firms who are taking up the matters relating to income tax, relating to GST, relating to ROC, relating to FEMA, everything. And the way in which they are managing is tremendous. Why I am saying this is, with due respects, if a person is not having knowledge of GST, if a person does not have the capacity or capability of drafting a show cause notice reply, I'm not saying it is not there. Please mark my words. I'm not saying it is not there. If he himself feels that if it is not there, he has to develop definitely. In order to develop, he has to follow all these things. And for the exposure, for the practical aspects, please approach a senior. Though in a form of a networking, professional fee sharing, please, you get to learn definitely. A candle never loses its light when it lights the other candle. Seniors are always available for guidance. Please approach seniors. Please learn from them. 2 notices, 3 notices, 4 notices. Please work with them. See how the replies are being prepared. See how the formatting is done, how the attachments, annexures are being prepared. Definitely you will be able to carry on from the 5th notice. So if it is possible, please follow. So drafting of a response, I was saying, definitely it is an art. Good and tasty food, if it is prepared well, it will not be accepted as a good food unless it is presented well. You know how the 5-star hotels present your food, and we like, oh, it is presented very nicely, it should be tasty. Similarly, you may be having a content in your response, but unless it is presented properly, it may not be acceptable by the officers. So presentation also matters. It requires a good command over the language, which will all be developed on a regular reading of your case laws. I'm sure many of you would have subscribed for the regular updates. Even our institute is also sending the regular updates on the changes that are happening. Please keep reading on a regular basis. Definitely you'll get a good grip of law. Coverage of issues. During drafting of the show cause notice, what you need to consider, how you need to move on in the drafting purpose. The reply should be prepared by responding to each and every paragraph of the show cause notice. Each and every allegation, please respond. If you are ignoring, if you are not responding to a particular notice, it will be deemed that you have accepted by the department, because there is no response for the particular allegation. So it is deemed that you have accepted. So please do not miss any of the allegations that are being made in the show cause notice. Please draft for each and every allegation. References to the provisions of law. Definitely you can give, but the reply should be crisp and specific to the point. You cannot be beating around the same point in saying same point in a different angles. I have seen show cause notice replies in the department running pages after pages without any stop, without any paragraph ending, without any serial numbers, continuously going on. There will be no interest of anybody in reading that. Please ensure that your reply, once a person is taking in the hand, he should be able to appreciate the presentation and he will be having an interest to read that. So wherever required, references of provisional law can be definitely given. and explained in a detailed manner, which will convey the clear message of how the provisions have been interpreted for the SSC. For example, the definition of service. For example, the definition of goods. For example, the definition of supply. How we are interpreting. Why the department's interpretation is not correct. Why our interpretation is correct. So it requires the reference of the provision. It requires how we have interpreted. It requires to distinguish the department's interpretation and say why we are right and why department is wrong. Yes, interpretation issues, just I was mentioning that. Wherever issues are involving interpretation, definitely penal provisions cannot be invoked whenever there is an interpretation issue. So please make a point that whenever there is an interpretation issue, please claim that no penalty can be imposed whenever this interpretation issue is involved. The response should be structured method of interpreting step by step each and every word, phrase, line of the section or rule, and then arrive at a conclusion. In the classification, you would have seen what is a chapter, what is a tariff, what is the entry, what is a sub-entry, how we are getting classified under that. What are the rules which are to be used for the interpretation, how which rule is being applied in what sequence, and how we are concluding that yes, this is the particular aspect of classifying the goods in a particular tariff. So these things, only when it is explained in a very, very clear and crisp manner, in a structured manner, in a proper flow, it will be easier for the department even to understand. And it can be used as a reference if you are going for the next level. Classification issues, as I was just mentioning, the ITC and classification are going to be the biggest litigating topics. Definitely, classification and ITC are going to be the biggest topics. We need to be prepared with a what I can say, demo reply, a structured demo reply. In the case of GSTR 3B and 2A, what should be used? In the case of ineligible credits, what should be used? In the case of credits not appearing in 2A, what should be used? A format can be prepared and kept, and as and when required, depending on the case-to-case basis, it can be altered. So in the case of classification, if the rates of taxes of the goods or services in dispute happens to be same, there is no much issue. Notice also may not be issued, except for the penalty for wrong classification, that also can be dropped. But if the rates are different, I have been paying at 12% and the department is demanding 18, definitely there is going to be a big issue. Calculation tables. It can so happen that the department during the course of audit, inquiry, or investigation would have taken certain values. They would have taken some values based on the market conditions. They would have arrived at the valuation, they would have arrived at the rate, they would have even done a calculation mistake also in the show cause notice. So whenever you are addressing the calculation issues, please give a clear-cut annexure. Do not put everything into the show cause notice reply. Wherever required, please have an annexure. Please give a reference in the show cause notice reply that this particular calculation is annexed here with. So that it is easy that the reply is crisp and wherever required is going for references only. The reply should not be cluttered by dumping all the aspects at the same place. Please have paragraphs. Please have pointers. Please have highlighted with bold, italics, whatever you want to do. Please highlight each and every allegation and give your response so that it is easy for the department to understand. Documentation and submission. Print of the show cause notice reply. In my humble opinion or in my humble view, it should be printed on the assessee's letterhead. But many of them follow the practice of printing on their own letterhead and they sign as an authorized representative. In my humble opinion, it should be printed on the assessee's letterhead. Assessee should sign, it should be submitted, and we as an authorized representative will go and represent on behalf of the assessee. So it should be printed on the assessee's letterhead along with the annexures. Whatever the annexures are required, that needs to be attached, and it should be prepared in 3 sets. One for the department submission, one for the assessee, and one copy for us. The various forms that are required to be complied with respect to Rule 142 is DRC 01A and DRC 01. DRC 01A is an intimation by the department before issuance of the show cause notice. Now here also there is an amendment being made. They have made it as an optional category. The department may issue a DRC01 or need not issue a DRC01. So they have made it as a non-option, they have made it as an optional category and not as a mandatory category, because previously it was shall issue a form DRC01A before issuance of the show cause notice. Now they have mentioned as may issue a DRC01A before issuance of a show cause notice. So if DRC01A is issued, it is an intimation that these objections are there. If you wish to pay, please pay it. Otherwise, you are proceeding to issue a show cause notice. So part A will be filled up by the proper officer with the allegations and the demand to be received by the taxpayer, and taxpayer needs to fill up in part B what is his point of view on how many issues he is accepting to pay and how many issues he is not willing to pay. DRC01, summary of the show cause notice, summary of the proposals of demand will be issued in DRC01. It will be posted on the GST portal itself. DRC02 will be issued. This is also summary of demand. Whenever it is a statement of demand being issued, DRC02 will be used by the department officers. DRC03, as we regularly use, it is used for payment of tax, and we select voluntary basis 73.5. If it is department's order has come, the notice is confirmed 74 under section 74. If you wish to close the issue, the assessor is willing so, then it should be selected as 74. Once payment is done in DRC03, if it is the stage of before issuance of the show cause notice, DRC4 will be issued by the department that an acceptance letter will be issued in DRC04 that yes, payment has been received. DRC05 will be issued intimating the conclusion of the proceedings. We have seen in 73 and 74 that if you are paying before issuance of the notice, after issuance of the notice, this much is a penalty or there is zero penalty. All these cases, the conclusion of the proceedings will be given in DRC05. If you wish to contest, then DRC06 is the form based on which you will be submitting a reply, and DRC07 is a summary of the order based on the representations, based on the personal hearing conducted, and order will be passed in DRC07. Few online slides on where you can find these particular points. So under GST website, once you log in, you will have services. There under user services, you see this view additional notices and orders. Here, one more new notices and orders are there. That is mainly for the registration related activities. So wherever the demands are raised, you will be able to find here on view additional notices or orders. Once you click that, you will get the list wherever the notices are issued, and you need to click that view button. You will be taken to the case details. So case details, you have here notices, replies, and orders. So once you select the notices, you will be able to click this attachment and download the notice. If you wish to reply, then you click on this reply button. You will be able to submit a reply like this. What is a show cause notice? All this will be auto-populated here. Personal hearing required. Please always select yes. Whether you are getting personal hearing or not, please always select yes. Because Supreme Court has said personal hearing is the minimum respect that can be given to an individual in case where the quasi-judicial or judicial authorities are taking any action against any person. So without giving a personal hearing, you cannot conclude any demand unless the assessee is not at all appearing. After 3 notices also, if he is not appearing, definitely they have to go for an ex parte basis. Otherwise, please always opt for this personal hearing. Reply, here you will find only a small space. Please give only summary of the reply. You can definitely attach your response, which is typed on the assessee's letterhead, printed, signed, scanned. That scan copy can be attached. Even annexures, whatever is required, also can be attached. Then this signatory mode, whether by way of DSC or EVC, can be selected and it can be submitted. This is the reply notice acknowledgement that you are going to get once you are submitting it online. So here you will get a status update. Reply furnished pending for order by the tax officer. And once an order is issued, here you will find order for creation of demand issued. If it is dropped, then order is dropped will be the response. Before parting, I would like to mention that winning the case or losing the case should be a matter of concern for the assessee and not for the professional. We should not take client's problem as our problems. As a professional, we should be concerned with the professionalism we show in handling the matter, the way in which we prepare a response, the way in which we express the finer points in detail, the way in which we present ourselves before the authorities will definitely have a lasting impression. They should be able to understand that the person has got a good grip on the subject matter and as well as the legal provisions. Whenever a professional appears before an authority, The authority should be convinced that yes, he'll do his job well. He's a person who is a perfect gentleman. Finally, the client should understand our efforts and our conscience should say that we have given our best. I thank the branch for the wonderful opportunity. I thank all the participants for a patient hearing. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. We have few online questions lined up, sir.
Yes.
The first one being, can SEN issued in hard copy be considered as valid as per Rule 142, which require it to be issued electronically? There are two rulings of Madhya Pradesh HC quashing the proceedings since late procedure is not followed.
Yeah. As I was explaining here, as the Rule 142 reads, the proper officer may issue a show cause notice along with the summary of the show cause notice in DRC 01 in electronic form. How I interpret that is only the summary DRC 01 is required to be uploaded electronically. With due respects to the rulings that has been given, in my humble opinion, the hard copy of the notice which is being received with proper DIN number should be treated as a valid notice, subject to your DRC 01 available on the online portal.
Thank you, sir. And one more question is, any input as to when tribunals under GST will be formed? Presently, only option after negative order of first appellate is writ. Is this understanding correct?
The government has been working on for formulation of tribunals. Recently also you may find the vacancy notice being issued by the government for appointing technical members, which is a huge shortage. The current SISTAT, which is functioning, which is handling the legacy matters of excise, service tax, etc., there are huge shortage of technical members. We do not have bench, a division bench to handle the matters. That is the sad situation here. As of now, if you are getting an order from the Commission of Appeals, if you wish to approach the High Court, you can go, or if you wish to wait, you can wait, because the government has issued a blanket extension. Once the tribunal is being formed, you get 90 days from the date of formation of the tribunal to file an appeal, irrespective of the date of order. So even if your order is received today and the tribunal is formed in 2024, from the date of formation, you will get 90 days to file an appeal. So you can wait if you wish to, or if you wish to approach the High Court, maybe the monetary values are high, you can do so.
And in case of anti-profiteering under section 171, penalty leviable at 10% of amount of profiteered, where it is provided that profiteered amount is to be paid back to government or customer. Please guide.
It is not mentioned that it has to be paid to the customer because he has not passed on, he has pocketed. That's why the government is demanding this money. Normally it is being moved to the consumer fund.
Then is a physical notice under GST valid if it doesn't mention the section number?
Physical notice, as I was distinguishing here, a notice is a different document, a show cause notice is a different document. Notice without referring any section number would be an inquiry or a notice or a letter asking for submission of details or documents, which does not require any section. So if it is for the particular purpose, then it is valid. Otherwise, if there is any imposition of a penalty, demand, or creation of any demand, then it definitely requires a section to be invoked.
And the last one, sir, why notice under section 81 will be served even after filing all our returns?
Notice under section
81. That's what they have mentioned.
No, once we file all returns, I don't think so there will be any notice that will be served, because once the compliance has been over and there is no further demand, I don't think any requirement will be there for issuance of notice under section 81.
Any questions offline?
Waiver of penalty as such, if you refer in section 73 or 74, there are two situations which I mentioned, that if you are paying the amount before issuance of the show cause notice, penalty can be waived. subject to condition that it should not be your self-assessed tax. If it is a self-assessed tax, minimum 10% will be applicable. No other chance. If you come to section 74, normally 100% penalty is applicable. But if you are paying in the gaps which are mentioned within 30 days of issuance of notice, then it is 15. After issuance, before passing of order, 25. After passing order, it is 50. If you are seeing an option for complete waiver of penalty, that is possible only when the entire demand is getting dropped. If there is a demand that is being accepted and paid by the assessee, then definitely penalty also will be continuing. Self-assessed would mean that you have declared your values. You have filed your GSTR1, you have said that yes, this is my sales liability, this is my GST liability, I am liable to pay, but you have not filed in GSTR3B. That is your self-assessed tax. Or any amount collected as tax. You have collected and not paid. In those cases, you will not be able to get any waiver of penalty.
Issue is basically now it is noted. As far as hard copy is concerned, a proper date is there on which it is electronic notice can lie in my inbox. I might have opened it. In the case of if I was a debtor, I might have already paid. 2 days later, I go through all the mails. I find that this mail was there. And then the department comes out to me and we send a notice on 6th. I paid on 10th. Question is, in case of electronic mail, electronic service, Information Technology Act is there. If there is a response, then only is considered to be acknowledged as Information Technology Act. I don't know about GST Act, IT Act, everybody, they think they can put in the website and,
That is what is happening. Yes.
They think that
Yes.
is so
Yes.
my understanding is electronic mail is like ordinary post. Respond, make sure service is there. You may have to go with the even drum also and paste it on the, what do you call it, this thing.
Even that is being contemplated in section 169. Yes.
So when all those things are there, then what is the date of effective service?
You see, as far as email response is concerned, whenever they have sent an email to the registered mail ID under 169, it is said so that as far as the email communication is concerned, when it is sent to the registered mail ID available at the time of sending this particular notice or letter or whatever the communication is there, it will be treated as a valid service of notice. Now, major cases, what happens? In large corporates also, the finance team will be different, payable team will be different, tax team will be different, finance team will be different. So in these cases, they have a common ID under a particular watch. Say they create tax at xyz.com or ABC at ABC, tax at abc.in. They create a particular mail ID for the purpose of taxation itself. And that is being a responsibility of that particular monitoring of the email ID is given to a particular person. So as and when any tax related mails comes, you have to take and respond. That is how it should be seen, sir.
Thank you, sir. There are a couple more online questions which we've received virtually. Mr. Basavaraj M is asking, since the tribunal is not formed, can the assessee get the stay for payment, or can the department initiate the recovery after losing in the first stage itself?
No, department cannot initiate any recovery at this point in time because tribunal is not formed. Definitely they cannot initiate any recovery. But if department is approaching for recovery, please inform them that tribunal is not formed. Since it is at your end, the next process is at your end, we cannot be held responsible. And even after that, if any action is being taken, then High Court is the way out.
Sir, one last question from Mr. Ritesh Katwal. Can an inquiry or audit be started without informing that inquiry proceedings has started? And can the officers call employees and summon them to their offices and submit documents without giving any reasons?
See, normally whenever there is an inquiry or audit being commencing, in the case of audit, there is a specific provision available that within at least 15 days prior notice has to be given. So at least 15 days prior notice has to be given in ADT 01, after which only the department can initiate any audit. If it is in the case of inquiry, and since the question is relating to summon, I believe either it will be from DGGI or some investigation wing. They do not reveal that for what purpose this investigation is being conducted. They will issue just a summon, inform the assessee to come to the department and give the details. And only when the assessee presents himself to the department officers, he will be made to know that for what purpose he has been called for, in what relation of the investigation he is required to provide the details. So whenever there is a summon from the DGGI, do not assume that it is something to do with your mistake that you have committed or some fault you have done. It can be for an inquiry of some other investigation that is going on also.
So there's a question asking what is it to be done if the officers are not serving show cause notice even after attending many inquiry or notices?
So see, the officer is not serving show cause notice, is good only, no? If they are serving show cause notice, then definitely there will be imposition of penalty. So as far as possible, let the complete details, whatever is being given, please take an acknowledgement of whenever the submissions have been made. This will go on to prove that you have been compliant, you have been cooperating with the department, and there was not any requirement to issue show cause notice because there was no demand that was being created from the officer side.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for CA N.K. Bharat, sir.
Can take, I think, last one question.
Hello. Sir, I have a question. Once the tribunal is formed, can I supersede that, rather skip it and go to High Court?
That point in time, the High Court will say you are having the alternative remedy, why have you come to court?
Okay, and another thing, very important aspect, this was touched upon by the erstwhile law, commissioner had powers to give clarification on certain matters. I have to refer Nestle case. The then Commissioner of Commercial Tax Karnataka, the great Pradeep Singh Karola, gave a wonderful clarification and it presided over. They didn't know what percentage of VAT should be charged. So one learned advocate of High Court of Karnataka, Shankaregowda sir, he represented, and that such provisions are there under GST law.
Sir, as far as clarifications from the commissioners are concerned, you cannot expect that from CGST officers. They will never give, they have not given. You will remember one clarification, one trade notice was released by Haryana or Chandigarh Commissionerate regarding the takeaway foods which are not liable to tax. Within 3 days, that was removed, that was withdrawn. So normally CGST officers will not issue any clarification. Even if you ask query, they will not give their response as to what you should do. They will suggest only to go for an advance ruling. As far as state officers are concerned, definitely state officers take up the matter. They definitely go forward and issue the clarification for the SSCs. Yes, it is happening for the state, but not for the center.
One last thing is burning issue.
Yes, sir.
For any show cause notice, I start to reply online, technical glitch. I'm not able to serve the reply. Okay. When I go to jurisdictional officer to produce hard copy, you visit website, you'll not take it. Such event, what to do?
Whenever you are facing any technical glitch, sir, please take screenshots and keep saving. That is point number one. Second, you have visited the office, they are not accepting. Please send it to the department by registered post acknowledgement due. So that will be a proof that you have sent your documents, you have sent your response. And whenever you are representing next, whenever the hearing is being called for, you can take the printout of those screenshots along with this copy of the reply and the RPAD acknowledgement and present it to the officer that you have tried all the aspects, but you are not able to do so. And that's why it was required to send through RPAD.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. I now request CA B.T. Shetty, sir, to present a memento to our distinguished speaker, CA N.K. Bharat Kumar, as our token of appreciation and gratitude. Thank you so much, sir, for coming all the way from Chennai for us.